Welcome to the Famous When I'm Dead podcast, where artists tell their story about how they thrive while they're still alive. And today we have Tanman Mandel, who is hailing from Europe, from the Czech Republic in Prague, but comes from India and has become kind of a local celebrity here in the artist circuit and the figure drawing circuit, and just all around great guy and awesome artist, awesome concept artist and illustrator and figure drawer. So, welcome to Famous When I'm Dead, man.
Oh, thanks for the great introduction, bro.
Yeah, and the background is perfect too for Famous When I'm Dead. You have like the hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to show my messy apartment, so I put this up.
So let's talk about just what you expected to get out of, like, when the decision came where you knew, or when the time came where you knew you wanted to be an artist and you knew that's what you wanted to do with your life. Like, what did you expect out of that? Like, or what did you want out of that life?
Well, I always knew that, like, I'm going to do art anyway. The things like discovery of like entertainment industry, illustration industry was quite tough. So that's thing I explored, but I always knew that I would do art anyway. Like, I wasn't worried about like how I'm gonna make a living or how I'm gonna have a job. I didn't have an idea that such job even exists where you do art and people pay you for it. I only know you put your painting in exhibitions and people buy it, and that's how you make money.
Yeah, that's, you know what, I left art school, college thinking that, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So only thing I explored was like what kind of art I want to do, or I'm still exploring, but it was not exploration that I have to do art for my living or like I want to be an artist. That was not my exploration at all.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you didn't have that expectation, or you weren't thinking about that. You just knew you liked to make art.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
knew always like ever since like my parents tell me that before even learning how to write, I was like doodling,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, drawing stuff with crayons, destroying walls.
So, what part of India are you from?
Oh, well, it's a small town, village in central part of India. The state is called Chhattisgarh. Even Indians don't know about it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a small town slash village named Narayanpur. It's surrounded by a forest and a beautiful place, yeah, but small town.
Nice. So, I guess I'm wondering about, like, what happened where you knew that you needed to go. Like, what called you to Europe?
Okay, yeah. So I was like working for a really long time. Like my first job was from 2010. And in 2017, I thought I should take a break and should focus on my art. So I quit my job and started doing freelancing and from India to from my brother's place. And about 6 months I did freelancing, and then I found a company who is working like the company used to be in Czech Republic. The company got shut down in beginning of 2020. But yeah, anyway, so I was doing freelancing for them for a couple of months, and they invited me, like they did everything for me, visa and stuff. They offered me a good job, and they offered me the sponsorship for visa. So that's what the call for me. And I wanted to have the experience of being outside of India. So it
Hmm.
was a good opportunity for me. So I took it.
So, I guess I want to go back a little bit to, like, when you were doing another job, because there's a lot of people that listen that are just hobbyists that might be thinking about getting into art as a career.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of obstacles in the way. I think the biggest obstacles are probably the social expectations, or the bottom line is the obstacles are really illusions, because there's 1,000 different kinds of art jobs that you can have, and you can definitely make a living if you want to be an artist.
Yep.
But I guess my question is like, what at what point in your when you were working not in art, when you realized I I can't do this anymore, like I have to be an artist, like I have to follow my truth.
Yeah. Well, all my jobs were art job
Oh,
anyway.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So my first job was as a junior artist who used to do penciling. I didn't know any softwares and stuff. So there was this small gaming studio for online games, for web games. They started a company. Actually, the person who started the company was actually HOD from the college where I used to go. So he offered me a job, a part-time job. So I used to go there, and a couple of months later, I quit my college and and I continued with the job.
Were you studying art in college?
I got admission in a private college for animation and multimedia and animation,
Oh, nice.
but only thing they were teaching was like graphic designing and Corel Draw.
So what happened with this job that you were doing? Did you say that you were doing pencil drawings?
Yes, yes. Back then, I didn't know how to use Photoshop
Uh-huh.
or any digital tools. So he gave me a part-time job, a really low-paid job, in exchange of my drawing skills. Only thing I had was like my drawing skills.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't very good, but I was quite good. I was quite good than people he had there, digital artists. So those digital artists were really good colorists. They could paint. They used to paint really well, but they didn't have knowledge of drawing.
Mm-hmm.
So he gave me a job as a penciler. So I was drawing on paper. They used to scan it and they used to paint everything digitally on top of that. Yeah.
That's inspirational right there, man. Like
Oh, thanks.
that you can just, you just had a pencil and a piece of paper and you were actually working for a game studio.
Yeah, it was quite a great opportunity for me back then because everything I learned from my job. Basically, I am self-taught artist, but I met people who were doing stuff, and I used to bug them all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a great. Actually, this was the milestone for me. Like if I look back and think about my how I built my art, what I have now. So it has three different stages. One before 2010 was like a kid who is just drawing for fun and exploring, drawing from comic book, drawing superhero. And
Mm-hmm.
after 2010, I started to pick up like Photoshop or digital tools. I was like um, learning how to paint with digital tablets and these things.
Mm-hmm.
And after 2014, when I found schoolism, and then I started to, pick up the pace and uh, worked. That 2014 was the time when I started to learn real stuff, like actual, fundamentals and stuff.
Did schoolism pay you to plug them?
No,
No.
that's my gratitude for them
Yeah.
because they changed my life.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean that's just what I wanted to say that one more time. It's like you don't really have, if you want to be an artist, there's no obstacle there. I don't know if you'll be able to get a job these days with a pencil, but
Oh, it's
uh,
so hard. Unless you're you're applying for a comic book penciler, yeah. But
but
life would be hell, yeah,
what
because
I've
that draws digitally.
what I've discovered through this whole coronavirus shutdown and this whole kind of chaos that's going on right now in the world is that you really don't need even formal training necessarily. Um, Really, all you need is a decent portfolio. That's it. You need to like spend, if you really want to move into a job with art,
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have the money, just move in with your parents or move in with somebody. If you have some
Yeah.
money saved up, that's better. But spend, 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year if you can, like just really focusing and building on a portfolio. And there are thousands of jobs, even right now with the corona going on. Like I was looking at jobs on Behance and Glass Ceiling. You recommended those, and there's just so many jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look around your environment, like the built environment that we live in, everything that you see literally was done either by an artist, it was design or a designer or an architect. All of
Yeah.
that stuff has to be thought about. All of the packaging you see on food, all of all the cars that you see, all of those are like very carefully sculpted in a studio before they, you know, um, take them into production. So everything that you see, like artists and designers are needed for that. So
Yeah.
I just want to put that out there for people who are listening that are thinking about getting into art. And also, you don't need much. You don't need the iPad yet. Like all you really need is maybe some markers or some colors and your sketchbook and a pencil and a pen, and just make that portfolio there if that's
Yeah.
all you have money for, and then scan it in, and then maybe eventually you can start doing digital stuff. But yeah.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah, there are great artists. Oh, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to be like per se digital artists, like hardcore digital artists. There are like so many great artists who are like trained traditionally, and they are still like they know how to paint digitally, but they still choose painting like traditionally
Like
just to
like
sake of just
Carl
for the fun.
Kapinski or like
Yeah, all those big shots. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And hope I'm also learning like how to paint with traditional medium. So hopefully, like during my retirement years, I would be a full full time traditional artist than like painting digitally.
So you moved to Europe, and then you got this job, and you're now another one of my guests, Torrin Thomas. He's working for a gaming company as well. When I
Hmm.
say gaming company, I don't mean like Halo or anything like that. That's an old game. God, that shows you how old I am. But I mean like slot machine, like online slots and other kind of gambling stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm an illustrator for slot machine. I don't necessarily draw cherry and seven and diamonds.
Yeah.
I mean there are like slot games with like illustration with characters and stuff. So that's what people hire me for most of the time. They assign me tasks for like painting fantasy characters and like monsters or creatures.
Uh-huh. And are
Also
you
like other stuff, small stuff like I have to do, for example, like UI and stuff. Small amount of those
uh
jobs also are in my plate also.
yeah, user interface for everyone
Yeah,
who's
yeah,
not familiar
or
with that term. Um, yeah, so I have a question about that. So how are you getting jobs now? Is it through ArtStation or
wow, nowadays we have so many portals actually. Like main thing you have to have like a strong portfolio, and you have to like everyone has like ArtStation. Like for example, recently few freelance job I have been approached through ArtStation,
Mhm.
few jobs through Behance, and few jobs through like one or two jobs through Facebook, like through personal contacts. But main thing, yeah, just you just Google a bunch of companies where you want to apply. You just find them. You will find their email ID. Send them your portfolio, your application. That's how you reach out to people.
Mhm.
And there are like other websites also where they have lists, like for example, Glassdoor,
Mhm.
other websites. But ArtStation is pretty hot. Yeah, ArtStation is, I would say, super like top thing now.
So I want to talk a little bit about pricing just for a
Yep,
minute,
yep,
because anyone who's a new artist, I mean, I'm a new artist in the digital illustration. I just did my first digital illustration job, and I wasn't quite sure how to price it.
yeah.
So what I did is I just asked them what their budget was, and
Hmm.
right away they said it's 300 to 500 euro, and that's for designing this chatbot and four different 4 different emotions, and I thought like, oh, €500, that's pretty good. Like that's pretty good for this design. It's just this one chatbot. Like that can't be. And then I started doing the job, And the thing is you realize you have to do at least 100 different sketches, and they have to be like decent enough to like show the client. And then they pick one, and then you have to guide the conversation because you're the artist. So in a way, they're kind of looking at you to make a decision on it. And then when you think about like how much you're getting paid for a job, you have to think, I've got to email or use Facebook Messenger or whatever back and forth to this person for a long time. Like that takes a lot of time to coordinate the little tweaks that need to happen and all of that. Then you have to read the contract and sign the contract and work out the money situation. You got to get the money transferred. So there's all of this stuff that goes around it. And like when you see like a chatbot or when you see like a little avatar, most people just see that and they're like, oh yeah, avatar. Like you don't consider like the hours that go into that. Like I've definitely went over my time for the €500. Like I definitely went over like what my minimum payment standard is. But it's good because I learned. But I guess to bring it to the point is like it's important to not underprice yourself, even if you're getting your first job. You can ask people on Facebook. You can ask people on Instagram. Reach out to people and see like what they think they would charge for a job like that. That's what I did. And don't underprice just because it's your first job or because you want exposure, because what you're going to do is you're not going to get respect from the client. Yeah. And you're going to make like you're going to drive the market down. So clients aren't going to expect to pay that much.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm still I'm still struggling with this problem. I wish I would find the answer anyway. But I'm in certain position now where I can choose my job. Like if I find a job interesting and pays like around like something I would be satisfied with, then I take it. If not, then I just ask, like if not, if I took the job and I have to do it, I just do it one time and I don't work with those rates or those, like, no, I mean, I won't say like I won't work with those people, but I won't work the same project with the same price if I do not find it like quite well. But at this point, like I'm quite fortunate to accept like what I want to do, and people who approaches me are approaching me through my portfolio, so they know what they need, and so it's kind of easy now. So I don't get like struggle like 500 sketches before like moving, and then they change big things. So I have a process and step for that. But pricing, yeah, I mean, I don't know what's underpaid and what's like a well paid. I just what my salary is like from my monthly job. I just divided it by day, and I asked for the day rate, like the amount of days I'm spending on it. I just charge that as my fee. So basically, I'm selling my time, not my drawing, or like. Is that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Actually, I want to add something to that because one of the things that I had in this job was that the person, the job and in the contract was to design the chatbot, and the thing that I was going to hand over to them were a neutral version of the chatbot and then 4 different expressions, all vectorized. Okay, so that was like what they were paying me for. Well, what happens, and I suspect this probably happens a lot, is that they're asking me about color design of the website. They're asking me about the information boxes that are coming up, basically like website design, color design. And for people who are just getting started, and maybe people who haven't quite realized this yet, all of those are different jobs. That's all a different payment. Like you might be an artist and you might be able to give them advice on what the color design looks like, but what I wrote back to him was I liked working with you and I would like to continue working with you, but let's finish this contract first. Let me finish the chatbot, and then after the chatbot's over, I'd be happy to give you like make a new contract for color design and web and like the web design. So
Mhm.
so I think that's important because it's not that people are necessarily trying to take advantage of you. It's just that they don't realize that. Like most people don't
Yeah,
realize that, like, oh, there's these different jobs actually for this. And
yeah,
that's not what you're not getting paid for color design. You're getting paid to make the chatbot or you're getting paid to make that thing. So
yeah.
I don't
Oh,
want
you're
to,
an artist. Can you do a logo design for me?
oh
Can
yeah, will you make
you
a
design my logo?
can you make my tattoo for me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing too that I want to say real quickly, and I don't want to go too much into business because I'm more interested about your story and like your struggles and how you overcame them and your successes and stuff. But one last thing that I want to say about business is when you quote a price, like of course you want to get like people's other people in the industry what they would charge for something like that. But do not be afraid to ask for more because I'm a caricature artist and I do live gigs and I checked out the competition in Prague and the competition is literally like at the most I think $100 for the first hour and I think they charge €60 for every hour after that. And that's the price what the prices were 20 years ago, you know. So like at one point I had a client that messaged me and I have my prices listed on the my website, but I looked at the client and I saw that they turn over $5 million a year. So I thought, well, I can probably ask for a little more, and I did. I asked for double basically what everybody else in Prague charges, and they paid it with no question. There wasn't any question.
Yeah.
So the thing is like it's important to step outside of your comfort zone with that, especially as artists, because a lot of artists are kind of weird about money. Um,
Mhm.
but to value yourself and ask for more, and if most of the time if the client's asking you, they're not going to say, "Oh, that's too much. We're not going to hire you." Sometimes that'll happen, but most of the time they'll be like, "Well, that's a little bit out of our budget," you know, and then you can say, "Okay, well, I'll go down a little bit." The best thing to do is really just ask for like what their budget is first, and then you have the upper hand with the negotiation.
Yeah, totally.
So, what about some things that you struggled with, like India? Not well. I don't know. I guess India is becoming kind of a rich country, but you came from a village like me.
Yeah.
I came from a village in the U.S. basically.
From where?
It's St. Louis, Missouri. It's like right in the middle of the country.
Wow, it's still a big city for us.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Compared to where, yeah. Well, Starlord, I mean, I don't wanna like, but just if people who are comic book fans, Starlord is from Missouri.
Oh, really? Star Lord? I don't even know Star Lord.
Yeah, from Guardians of the Galaxy, the Captain.
Oh yeah, we hang out.
Fantastic.
We hung out sometimes. Yeah, we used to drink coffee.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I guess I'm wondering like kind of what life was like when you were growing up and like um, challenges that you faced like in your career as an artist are
Yeah.
getting into it.
Hmm. Well, I face challenges every day, but let me think. How would I put it on? Like you want to hear like how being from that village impacted cause problem or like what like if you can be specific.
Yeah. Okay. So how about what kind of issues did you face getting into art? Maybe that's not the best question because it sounds like you really just like slid right in there with that pencil, man.
Okay, yeah, I mean I can add some stuff like if people who are like from village maybe it would like help them to
How big
yeah.
was the village? How many people?
Oh well, like the community I used to belong, maybe we had like 100 people. Like okay,
Whoa,
it's
that is a village.
well no, the community I belong, it's called colony. Yeah, it's a huge colony, maybe like 100 people back then. but now it's growing, and like it's not about number of people, it's like about like facilities. Like for example, like when I was kid, we used to have only one brand of pencil available called like H hard lead pencil. So it used to be like super tough to get drawing grade pencil, like 2B, 4B, all these things.
Yeah.
I discovered these things like when I was like maybe in fifth standard. So my father used to bring those stuff like our supplies from another city, like which is like overnight journey from our town to like that city because it's in the forest. So traveling by bus is not super. Like if you have your own car, then it might take like 5 or 6 hours to get into that city.
So
So whenever my father used to, yeah, sorry.
so let me just like get a picture of that. So you literally lived with 100 people, and then there was space.
Okay, I'll put it like 100 people were like maybe from my community, like in our colony. There were like tribes also, like tribes. That's the most amazing part of that area. And there are like other regional, like local community people from local community also. And I think now population is more like in thousands. I'm not sure because India like gains population so quickly. So now population is like this town is like become a district actually.
Hmm.
It's an area wise it's as big as Czech Republic.
Oh,
Actually
really?
bigger than Czech Republic, I think, area wise, yeah. But the problem is with facilities, like we didn't have really good schools and like hospitals and like no art supplies, like really good art supply stores and stuff.
Hmm.
Only like in terms of paper, like you used to get a like drawing paper which used to be this big, which is like super cheap, like drawing paper, like you won't. It's like those
Like
like low
newsprint.
grade art supplies, yeah, used to get there.
Yeah.
So that used to be a struggle, but my father used to bring everything from a different city.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so maybe that was a challenge back then when I was a kid, finding like good art books or inspiration. Back then no internet, so we used to like my father used to bring comic book from different city
Yeah.
for us, yeah. So newspaper cuttings and clips I used to draw from them, from comic books, stickers used to draw from them. No, we didn't have library, so no good resource to learn
How
back
was
then.
your internet connection?
Oh wow, it's still terrible there, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's still terrible. Yeah, I mean, uh, the area I belong to has a problem with local communist terrorists. Like so the military is there all
Communist?
the time. Yeah,
Commun?
communist terrorists. They need their own government. They don't want to follow the Indian government.
Whoa.
Yeah, so that's the problem with that. That's why the development become really slow for that region.
Yeah.
So my state is actually known for in India. My state is actually known for that, like that those local terrorists. If you go
Whoa.
somewhere, they you're from there, so you may have meet those like terrorists, or they see you like that. Yeah,
So what do they call themselves?
Naxalites, Naxals. Yeah,
Noxels.
yeah, Naxals. Yeah,
Did you ever make
sounds
a
like Nazi. Yeah, but that's what they are, kinda.
Did you ever make a painting of them?
No, I didn't like, but I did the illustration inspired from those tribes. Yeah,
Yeah.
from
Um,
that region.
I want to talk about this a little bit because like there's people that I know that come from like bare circumstances like that where there's just the bare minimum that you need to survive and like really
Yeah,
small like not a lot of resources.
yeah.
um, and in a way I feel like there's an advantage there. And
Mm.
of course you would probably never choose that. You would probably never choose like not to have a hospital,
Yeah,
or
I mean, yeah.
proper toilets or like, right kind of art supplies or a decent internet connection. But I have a friend from Iran who's an amazing artist. And, if you know anything about Iran, you have really no voice. You can't really speak out against anything. He's an atheist.
Yeah.
So he had to actually leave the country but because he didn't have any resources, like he figured out a way to do that. He figured out a way to like build computers, get himself connected to the internet. He had to
Yeah.
sneak around. Um, but I don't know if that is like a good way to start or if it just shows how passionate somebody is about it. It sort of like separates the people who are serious and the people who aren't, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think I would add something. I think that might be useful. Well, yeah. First thing, we were not poor. We were just like we didn't have like anything to spend our money.
Oh yeah, yeah. But that's a kind
So
of poverty, you
that was
know.
one
That
problem. But like yeah, like we have lack of resources.
yeah, lack of
But
resource. Yeah,
yeah, but I think like I got like when there are like all they say like when all doors are closed, there is one light, other door opens. So I think I used to have opportunities like this throughout my life. Like for example, when like I have a distant cousin like who lives in a city, so I met him as a kid, and I like and he was an artist. Now he's working as a fashion designer, and actually he helped me also to build my inspiration. So I used to look at like I used to be inspired from him. I'm still inspired from him. So yeah, so I used to like get like some help from time to time. So yeah, like if you don't give up, I'm sure you'll get help or a helping hand from God, or you'll definitely get.
yeah.
Yeah, as long as you don't give up. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a. I agree with you, and for me, that's been a principle that I've seen, like a universal principle that I've seen the longer I've stayed committed to being an artist, which is that most people take the road most traveled. They don't take the road less traveled,
Oh wow.
and sometimes people will travel down that road. You know, like in the beginning, people will start off. You know, for
Yeah.
example, if you start a YouTube channel or an interview series, most people drop off after 2 months. Like that's the limit. You
That's
know, like 95% or some crazy number like that, and it's because it's hard. It doesn't pay off right away. And it just takes a lot of growth and a lot of effort and a lot of uncomfortable moments and a lot of frustrations, and most people don't want to deal with that. So this is the same thing with art. You know, art is not an easy pursuit. It's something that takes a lot of effort and a lot of passion and a lot of getting back up after getting knocked down and learning as you go. And if you just stick with it, eventually what's going to happen is it doesn't matter. I have to be careful the way I say this. It's not as important as how good you are as how persistent you are. And that's not saying that like you shouldn't try to get better, because of course you should, and you're going to do that anyway as long as you focus and practice and really try to learn. But the thing is people are going to drop off. You know, people don't have that staying power, and if you just stick with it, like then doors will come open, and then you'll just be the artist in your group of friends. If you have 100 acquaintances and 25 friends, you're going to be the artist in that group, and
Yep.
people are just going to go to you when they need something creative or whatever. So yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Exactly.
So there's a saying, actually, a quote that I really like is that there's never a traffic jam on the road less traveled. Or wait a
Oh
minute,
wow. That's a good
that's not
one.
how that goes. Wait a minute, I think I totally just
Oh.
mutilated that quote. Uh, oh, it's gone. I lost it. I'll come up with it later. I'll put it up on the screen for everyone. Something like that.
Yep.
So let's talk about your career as an artist now, like what you're doing now,
Yeah.
and some issues that you've had, or like some things that you've had to overcome.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the reality. You always have an issue. You will always have an issue. No. So like now my current issue is like I'm working as an illustrator for slot games and casino games, which I'm not very proud of. I mean, I'm doing my best to produce my art, provide my service, but this is not I want for the rest of my life. I want to be a magic artist. I want to work on my own story, the story I was building for my comic book. So I want to work on that.
Magic the Gathering for people who don't already know that
Yeah,
card game.
yep, Magic the Gathering. Yeah, so I want to work for them someday. So I'm building my portfolio towards that direction. And so yeah, that's where I am now. I mean, I have a job for my living, but my dedication is to build my portfolio for Magic the Gathering, and my long-term goal is to build my story and what I'm building now and work on that story. Yeah, to
Nice.
take it further. Yeah.
So, do you want to talk about some art? We've already been. Yeah. It's about time to look at some fan art. Do you
Oh,
want?
awesome.
Or before we get to that though, like, why don't we talk a little bit about your art and your process because you're working with Photoshop and you're working on just like a Wacom bamboo tablet.
It's not bamboo. I have. Oh, you can't
Oh,
see.
you have
Can
a
you?
bigger one. Yeah. You have
Yeah, the medium size one.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Intuos Pro.
Intuos, and that's you can't see the image on that screen, right?
I'll put the image. No, I can't actually. There is a
You
small.
no. I mean, you can't see the image on the screen that you're drawing on. You have to look up at the computer screen while you're.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So you're doing some digital stuff, and then you do gouache, and
Yeah, for fun. Yeah,
you're doing charcoal
yeah,
and oil.
yeah.
You're all over the place.
All over the place. Yeah, even sometime I do procreating.
Oh yeah. So let's talk about that process. Like, you're doing the digital stuff mainly for work,
Yes,
and then you do the more traditional stuff for fun and for your own practice.
yes.
Let's talk about your practice though. Let's talk about like because you're like when I first met you. Um, Actually, you know what? Let's go live now because we're gonna get into the critique pretty soon.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let me go. Okay. All right. All right, let me turn the camera around. Cool. Okay. I think it's live. Yeah, we're live. Okay, cool. So anyway, when I first met you, where did we first meet? We met at the figure drawing session at Prague College.
No, not in Prague College, in Herbanska section.
I wonder who told me about that. Anyway, I found the drawing lesson, and then I think you were doing gouache on that session, right?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and I saw the gouache, and I'm like, holy shit! Like, you can make a painting that fast. Like, you can make it looks like an oil painting. So I was right away. I was inspired by your work.
Oh,
And then I was like, I'll learn how to do this. And then I realized, like, man, this guy has got like some other level of skill because I've been doing gouache now for a while and like I'm not even really close to where you're at right now. But so yeah, thank you for the inspiration. But I want to talk about like how you got to that level because what I noticed about you is something that I notice about any successful artist is that you work as an artist and then you go home and you watch art videos and then you
yeah.
like go to painting sessions and you go to figure drawing sessions. So why don't we talk about like how you got to the level that you're at? I don't it seems
Okay.
really quick to me. It seems like so quickly. Like
Oh, okay. Yeah, you
how
mean
old are
the
you now?
wash live drawing sessions, yeah.
How old are you, Tim?
I'm 28 now.
You're
I'm gonna
28.
be 29 soon. Yeah,
Yeah, and your work is like
next year.
awesome for
Oh, thanks,
yeah,
thanks,
yeah.
bro. Your work is awesome. I saw your wash paintings yesterday. They are like really great. You are also become quite fast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah. I
you.
mean, the like the gouache was like, I would say, it was like, for gouache I've been inspired from James Gurney.
Hmm.
So my main goal was, to do to do like whatever he was doing. I was like, being a cheap copy and knockoff of James Gurney. That's what I was trying to be. So yeah, so like I was struggling with gouache and stuff, but then I started to use, like, I no wait a minute, I have to challenge myself. So I started doing gouache in live drawing sessions, like, all those quick live drawing sessions.
Yeah.
I started using gouache, so that helped me to become fast with gouache.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I improved with gouache, and with gouache is like, it's super great medium, but and it's forgiving so many times, but at the same time it's super like complicated if you, and frustrating also. So I have been through with that frustration. So the only thing helped me was, like, I was trying to limit my colors and color palette. So I was like dealing with one bird at a time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so maybe like someday I was doing like limited, color palette. Someday I was doing with, like, just black and white with gouache.
Hmm.
And because in live drawing session, you have to draw fast, right? Let's say 5 minutes, 15 minutes,
Hmm.
20 minutes if you are fortunate. I'm not talking about long drawing session, long post sessions, just short ones. So your brain does decisions really fast than, because you are in rush, than a normal situation. So that's how your brain take like mind notes. So like if I show you my color palette, like I don't even have to see where my colors are. I just, my hands goes automatically now towards where the color arrangement is, like the way I arrange my color. So my hand automatically goes there, and that
Hmm.
happened because I was like drawing in live drawing sessions. So
Hmm.
yeah, that challenge helped me to become better with gouache. Yeah.
Yeah, the speed thing is probably the most important aspect for figure drawing for me, and the fact that I'm a caricature artist. And it really just it forces you, if you don't want to draw caricatures, then just go to a live figure drawing session,
Yeah.
like gestural drawing, and then that'll get you faster. And what it does is it removes the thought, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to do personally as an artist. Is I'm trying to not think as much, and I'm trying to see and observe, and feel. The mind just gets in the way. It's like as soon
Yeah.
as I start thinking about it, it slows me down, and then I make a mess up the line or whatever. I put a blob somewhere that doesn't even belong.
Yeah.
So cool. Well,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I just want to add. Yeah, you just have to get rid of fear. Like with gouache, you can fix it anyway. The moment you become like, conscious about what you're doing, then I don't think you would lose the fun out of it. So be playful with gouache. Whoever is like trying to start using gouache, so be playful with it.
Uh,
And yeah, the about the speed. Yeah, yeah. Speed. I never been worried about speed. Because speed comes by time. So if you're good, then it's, if you're bad at drawing, then you have to be fast. And if you're like, good at drawing, then you can be like, slow.
well,
You
that's
know
a
what I mean?
not really, but I actually wanted to bring up kind of a question with that, because I've been thinking about that lately, and what I find is that if I'm using the same medium that I do, like a 5 minute caricature or a 10
Yeah.
minute caricature, and I spend like an hour or an hour and a half on it, and I really focus on the lighting and the bounce lighting and the shape and the form and all of that, and I really make like a beautiful piece. Then when I do the fast one, it's a lot quicker. I can do the same thing a lot
Yeah.
faster because I already sort of took the time to figure it out, and
Yeah.
it allows my body or my hand just to do it very quickly without thinking too much about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's what, like, in painting, like, that's why people do preliminary or comprehensive sketches, thumbnail sketches and all those things before jumping into the final painting.
Hmm.
So yeah, the same way you like train your brain and then you become fast and the next step becomes much easier.
Yeah. I also want to just point one more thing out before we look at the fan art is this multidiscipline thing that you do. I'm like that as well. Like throughout the years, I've done a lot of different stuff, and even now I do a lot of different like techniques. Even like puppet making, stuff like that. That's like not even like related necessarily to like visual, like canvas art. I just wanted to ask you if you could share a little bit about how you feel that's an advantage or how that kind of informs your work.
Hmm. So you mean the variation in terms of like like exploration? Is it
Well, like
what do you think
what
about
I mean is
exploration?
like how does painting with oil in your sketchbook help your digital stuff and
Oh
how
yeah, 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 definitely. Yeah, I got the question. Yeah. So basically, like there were periods when I was not like I didn't touch a paper and pencil for like years, maybe 4 or 5 years. There were time I was like always drawing digitally. But when I started like drawing like traditionally again, I became more disciplined. Your digital process become quite fast
mm-hmm.
because when you're drawing traditionally or painting traditionally, you are limited with your options, and within those options you have to, like for example, the digital color palette, is super vast. With traditional pigment you can't achieve that.
Yeah.
So what you do is like you deal with the pigments you have, and that helps you to build the great, the right way of right process of the think about like color. How would I put it? So your brain thinks about color differently when you train yourself uh, traditionally to paint with traditional pigment.
Mm-hmm.
So this helped me totally, like my digital painting process become quite fast, and my drawing skills been improved. The feeling of like shape and dimension on paper, then feeling it on the digital canvas is totally different. So yeah, and also for fun, like like working 8 hours a day in my day job, and after that, working on a screen again is quite difficult. So traditional medium is, if I use traditional medium, it's also fun for me, and I'm at the same time I'm like doing something productive in terms of art, and at the same time it's not like burning my brain cells, with digital screen.
So
So yeah.
I want to stop for a second because I want to see if you want to say anything to the people who are watching,
Oh yeah.
all the live people. So, yeah, just a second ago we had 5 people. Now we only have 2, but you can still say something to them. We got
Oh, okay.
Coleg Art. I wasn't to buy a Samsung tablet for digital drawing. Which one do you recommend that's affordable? Oh, I want to buy a Samsung tablet for digital drawing.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, you're gonna have to recommend this because my first tablet was a Wacom
Yeah.
bamboo, just a really cheap bamboo one. I think it was like 80
Yep.
bucks,
Yep.
and you can start with that. That's what I started with, and then I just went to an iPad after that. So that's what I did. She's
Yeah,
from
exactly. My thoughts are same.
she's from Mexico, by the way. Someone else said from Serbia. Serbia.
Oh wow, awesome.
Yeah. So do you have a recommendation on like what to start with?
Yeah, buy whatever is affordable for you. Even buy a Chinese tablet, like Huion or anything, as long as you're like every single penny of it worth for you. Buy whatever you need, like you can buy at that time, and
What? So
practice hard. Yeah.
what she's basically saying is, what kind of brush do you use?
What kind of brush do I
This is
use?
a joke for people who don't know this joke
Yeah,
that are watching.
yeah. I would also say something like if you want a display tablet, if Samsung is expensive or something, go with this like this old tablets. Even buy second hand. These
Yeah,
vacuum tablets are super durable.
yeah. So that's what I want to. I think like I think the point that I want to like bring this to a point and answer that question for people who are if she's still watching. Yeah, I think she is. Just buy whatever like get a secondhand one or buy whatever. Like, don't let that stop you from drawing digitally. Just buy something
Exactly.
cheap.
Yep.
It
Exactly.
doesn't matter because once you start using it and you get used to it, then like if you find that you like it and you're getting better at it, then you're gonna save money and you'll buy a better one later. But just don't, whatever it is, like the art supplies are not important. It's like more about the fact that you're making art.
Yeah. Thanks for putting it nicely, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're down to 3. I don't see any more questions popping up right now, but I probably had some a while back. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody, because I can't really look at the screen while I'm talking. I'm going to scroll back to see if I can see any questions pop up. I think people are just kind of like saying hi. You are alone, bro. I don't know what that means. I don't remember what part of the conversation that came from. Okay, so let's look at some fan art. So, yeah, I'll keep the live stream going, and I'm going to pull up this first one. Okay, so I'm sharing it on my screen now. The one I'm looking at now is we're only going to look at one fan today, but if you have your screen pulled up in front of you, Tan, I'm looking at the one that's like a girl with she's got a headband on and she's got like a choker on and it looks like a half crescent moon.
Oh, Sailor Moon. It's Sailor Moon.
That's Sailor Moon? Oh, dude, I'm
Yeah.
so out of the loop. Okay, so let's do a critique on this one because this girl. Okay, before we do that, let me read what she says because she says, "I know it was okay. I saw it only today. Could you maybe? Let me skip through all the gunk here. I'm a young 16-year-old artist that is trying to get out there because you love and inspire other people like some artists inspire me. There are a few pictures of my art and attachments." Okay. Yeah, so she's 16, so I'd say she's like doing pretty damn good for 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do you want to give any kind of critique on this? Do you have anything right away that you notice?
Yeah, of course. I can give some suggestion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, don't be so harsh on yourself. You're doing great. And don't forget to have fun with your drawing. And I see like you had quite a lot of fun with this drawing. And I really like the drawing, only advice and tip if I would give is like for hair. Yeah. Just for hair. Like, uh, just check out other artists, like, how they are drawing hair.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you have to draw every single line of the hair. It would make it more flat. And if you want to have three-dimensional hair, then treat the hair more like a solid object than single thread. Like you don't have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But beside that, I love the drawing. Yeah, it's great and wow, good job.
Yeah, I mean, I would only, I don't know if I have a whole lot to add. I think I agree with you with the hair. Like, you don't have to draw every strand of hair.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think the only thing that kind of stands out to me is the tonal issue, like right under the chin. On the neck, I think the tone needs to be darkened a little bit, like right under the jawbone. And she's got a little bounce lighting going on there, but yeah, I think I would just recommend like studying light and the different kinds of light that there are, and the way it bounces around the environment.
Yeah.
But she's really on the right track with that one. Let me pull up the next one. She sent a bunch of them in. I think we're probably going to have a lot of the same advice. Let's pull up another one though. Oh, that's the same one. Hold on. Oh, here. Oh, there they go. Okay. Okay, these are just like some small sketchbook stuff she has. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you probably see the sketches. They're like just quick little portraits.
Yeah, but there are two quick little portraits.
There's 4 on each page.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, but which page? There are like two pages.
she's working with expression. Oh, she's got one where a girl's making kind of like a farting face or something. Yeah, and then there's another person looking down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what, I mean, for me, I don't know what to say about that. It's a 10-minute sketch, and I think it's good for a 10-minute sketch.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Yeah, just only thing I would say, just the placement of eyes is just small subtle thing. I think, or maybe it's the distortion by the camera. Not sure, but the placement of the eye, and on the first sketch, the guy who is like looking up,
Yeah.
the shape of the head is like, I think it's getting smaller or something. So
Hmm.
the skull shape of the skull, like this area is kind of missing some volume, and like this area, the forehead is
Hmm.
missing some volume, but it's super minute. Maybe it's the problem because of the foreshortening of the camera.
Yeah. I
It's super
think
subtle. Yeah.
I think with her, like she's already at a point.
Yeah.
She shows a lot of promise.
Yep.
Morgan
Definitely.
Morgan is her name. Morgan Delot.
Yeah.
Um,
Totally. It's
yeah,
on the
I
right
mean,
track.
she's at this point where she's got to really start studying now because she's at a point where like she's already probably better than most 16-year-olds. So,
Yep.
I mean, she's better. She's sketching better than I am. You know, like
Yeah.
this is like the
When I
level.
was 16, I was like, I was like, no way, like here. So she's
Yeah,
really on the on the right track.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about right now. She's like at the level or better than I am with these 10-minute sketches. Um, but yeah, I would just say like at this point you really got to start studying like the way light works and the way you really have to start getting into the details now because you already have the ability to like capture the likeness, capture the expression. The shading is good. The form looks good to me. Like it's all very believable and expressive even, which just comes with like fast sketching actually, but yeah, nice work. Let me see if I can find up any. She sent me a bunch. Let me see if I can find another one. Oh, here's another one. Now, oh yeah, okay. So now I'm looking at the girl with the hat. Let's look at that one. There's that hair again. She's drawn every single strand of hair. I would say also, do you see which one I'm talking about, Tan?
Yeah, yeah, found it. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
Uh,
this is cool. Oh, nice drawing.
I would say, if I can start here, I would say like same thing I said before is that if you want to understand the reality of the way light works and form works inside of space and light, go ahead and study that. But I kind of think she's already at a point where she can kind of get a little bit more expressive with it and get rid of
Yep.
some of the destroy some of the edges maybe and even get rid of some of the detail in the hair and kind of like try to be more emotional and expressive with it. Right now it's kind of copying machine.
Mhm. Yeah. So like it's not a critique or feedback on this drawing, but it's just maybe a suggestion. What I wanna say is like, so I recently took the schoolism course of Nathan Fox about portrait drawing with charcoal.
Mm-hmm.
And what he taught about in that course is like how you group the shapes, within just portrait, just the face. He was like grouping shapes and values such a way that it was like super interesting. In case like someone interested, you can look it up on Google, Nathan Fox charcoal drawing, and you would know what I was talking about. So what he taught is like, if you are focusing something which is on shadow, then overexpose your lights.
Okay.
And if you're like focusing something on the light, if you're adding details on the light side, then group all your shadow areas, like group them, like simplify them.
Yeah.
So that's a suggestion. It's not a feedback on the drawing itself. It's just maybe you use those knowledge and it would boost your drawing skills, portrait drawing skills into next level.
Yeah, that's actually that's a really good point to group the shadows and the lights into shapes,
Yeah.
as opposed to like 100 lines for the hair, for example, or into like smudged charcoal or smudged graphite, is
Yeah.
to make them like group them together and make them shapes, the lights and the shadows.
Yeah.
I want to say two more quick things that I would actually recommend is one thing is that when you're doing a black and white drawing, you can make it more dramatic by staying away from the middle of the tone scale. And what I mean is, like, if you have a dark, go ahead and make that, stick to darks that are kind of close together. Skip that whole middle gray section. So basically,
Exactly.
you're bumping up the contrast, and
Yep.
basically, so that's one thing. And then the other thing is uh, implicit drawings or implicit images versus explicit images. So let me be clear about that. When I say explicit images, I'm talking about what you're looking at on the screen right now, like this work. It's very explicit. There's no guessing. Like, it's a girl with a hat on with like straight kind of wavy hair. Okay, that's it. There's no guessing or anything like that. When you make work implicit or more expressive, and you leave areas like the darks are like start to blending together, like we were just talking about, or the background blends in with some part of the midground or the foreground. um, there's some kind of mystery there, and it allows the viewer to add their own narrative to the drawing.
Yep.
It's a good drawing. You got the details in there. It's believable, but it's just a girl with a hat on. There's no like mystery or no emotion, or there's no story really. You know, does that make sense?
Yep. Yep.
I
Exactly.
don't know if you
Totally.
agree with that or not, but um, okay, I'm gonna turn that down. So anyway, I'm not going to go through all of them because she sent a bunch, but Morgan, you're doing great. Keep it up. And I hope that our advice helped you. I hope that you'll send in more artwork for the next interview also. So thank you for participating. Yeah, she sent me that artwork like 5 interviews ago, and she sent it in late, so I just never got around to it. But there you go. And cool, man. Well, let's start wrapping it up. We're like already almost 90 minutes in. Is there anything that you want to say to your audience or my audience or all of the people out there listening? You have people from a lot of different fields listening. We got caricature artists listening. We got illustrators listening. We got young students listening.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I I would say like the biggest blessing on this planet, uh, you know, nowadays, like especially in this Corona situation, the biggest blessing is like if you are healthy. So praise that blessing, stay healthy, and be safe and produce more great art in future.
Hmm.
Yep, my best wishes for you guys.
So do you have something that you want to plug? Do you want to tell people how to find you?
Yeah, yeah, you can find me as 10 Pixel Studio on Instagram.
Is that all together? Tan Pixel Studio
No, it's TAN, then was
underscore.
underscore pixel underscore studio. Or you can find me as a Tanman on ArtStation.
Uh huh.
Yeah,
Tanman.
yeah,
TANMAN.
yeah, on
Yeah.
ArtStation. Yeah, or 10 Pixel Studio would be enough. I think either way it would take you somewhere and where you can find me anyway.
Yeah. And all that's going to be in the video description.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else?
Oh, no, thanks, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was
Yeah, I would
great.
like to thank you also. Thanks for inviting me for this interview. It was fun.
Well, man, it's great talking to you like more in depth about this stuff, and you definitely inspired me to get back into figure drawing. You inspired me to get into gouache, and yeah, you're a big inspiration for me. So yeah, it's nice to talk to you, and I think that people are gonna like your work and like what you have to say.
Oh, you see, I'm blushing.
Yeah. Cool. Well, so yeah, I hope everyone likes the interview. Thank you for watching. Check out Tanman at tan_pixel_studio. That's on Instagram, or just Tanman on ArtStation. And see you next time. If you haven't hit the subscription button down here, go ahead and do that now. Also, hit the notification bell so you'll be updated anytime we have a new video. We work really hard to bring you entertaining and useful content. So if you enjoy what we're doing here on the channel, make sure to go to our Patreon page. The link is in the description below, and donate $10, $5, even $2 a month is a big help, and it shows your support. So thanks for watching and enjoy.